Roll call 219 here. We're going to look at this package that I just picked up today at work. This is the Rm360, the Rocky Mountain 360. As you can see here, got the box here. I was going to do a video on putting this thing together, but it was a little tricky. I've never owned a crossbow. Mainly for hunting game, I use a firearm. And the reason why I bought this particular crossbow is, first of all, it was on sale. And second of all, this is going to help me extend my hunting season. Now, our hunting seasons here in Indiana aren't as long as I would like them to be. So this will give me an opportunity to extend it during bow season. That way, just in case I don't get anything in gun season, I can continue to hunt deer with a crossbow, because that season is longer than gun season. Gun season, I believe, is only about a week, and bow season's for about a month. So that's the huge, difference in those aspects of hunting here in the state of Indiana. I'd really have to go into my book and see the days that it starts and ends to give you really fine specs on it. But bow season is generally longer than gun season. So with this one, the Rm360, the Rocky Mountain 360 Pro, it came in a package that I just showed you, with all kinds of different doodads. I wasn't really familiar with this. Looking for a video on this, looking back now that I built it, I should have filmed that aspect, because I looked online for a video, because the directions that are down below the crossbow are poor. And poor in aspects of showing you instruction on where parts go. I can show you an example. Hold on. For example, these are pretty decent instructions at this point of cocking the crossbow. But if you go back to putting it together, you just get some layman drawings on how to put the crossbow together. I think that's a misfall for this company, and they should throw a CD in there. I'll pay an extra $5 for the CD if it's going to cost you that much. But some of the instructions on it are kind of poor, man. I mean, these are decent because they're pretty detailed instructions. But putting the crossbow together was pretty poor in general. So always look at your manual. It did come with a quiver and 3 bolts with some field tips on there for practice. As you can see, the field tip there. So that's pretty nice. I don't know. The only video that I found on this crossbow was a video of 3 guys shooting it and checking the speed. They were using the same exact bolts that came with the crossbow, and they did not get up to 360 feet per second. I think they were topping out at about 326, 327, something in there. If you YouTube it, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So that was kind of discouraging, because getting 360 feet per second, it would be pretty awesome. When people test stuff, just like firearms, it comes with different ammunition, how far they're shooting from. Again, chronographs don't usually work well with higher elevations, and then uncontrolled environment. I don't know how they test these things as they come out. So, but it's plenty enough to take a deer at 25 yards. So I thought this was going to be a good choice just for the price point. So if you're interested in the price point of this thing, I got this on sale at my work. I believe it was $179.99. and it's originally $279.99 from what I looked at the receipt. So that's a pretty good deal. This is an entry-level crossbow. This is what I would call this thing, an entry-level crossbow. There is other crossbows out there on the market that are just super expensive, that probably shoot faster and have different kinds of mechanisms on there. This one's pretty basic. It does have a pistol grip, as you can see there, with some padding for the finger grooves, which is nice. It's comfortable. You can adjust the foregrip on it for your length of pull. Also, if you can see the stock off to the side, I did have to move the stock back, which again is kind of disheartening, because the tool to use to move the stock was not in the box. Whether they provide it or not, they do provide Allen wrenches, but to move your stock to get the length on it, I had to go and get a different Allen wrench from my own personal set. So that I had to stumble and fumble to try and find my my Allen wrench set. But other than that, you know, I got it to work. It did come with some lube that goes in the back of the stock. I don't know if you'll be able to catch it on camera. I'll try and pull it in there. Right here. Right here, it does come with some lube, and I guess you're supposed to put it there. It does have, as I drop stuff, it does have a little compartment here on the buttstock, or on the grip of the crossbow. If I can get it out there, that's pretty tight in there. But I guess you could probably put that lube in there if you didn't want it to stick out of here. So, yeah, all in all, putting it together was pretty easy. It wasn't totally horrible in the end. Again, the directions were kind of funky. Does come with this little scope. I turned it on, and you've got a couple different settings. I wonder if I can get them on camera. I don't know if I can get them on camera, but we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a whirl here. So, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll turn it and see. So, as you can see, you won't be able to see the reticle that good because I don't have a great camera setup. But there's a reticle in there, and you can change it, and it comes with different colors on there. So, blue and red. And it'll light up that reticle in there. I would guess for low visibility, which is a plus. The area that I'm hunting does have a lot of trees in there, and in the morning it's probably going to be a little bit darker than what I would want it to be. So that might be a plus for the area that I'm hunting. I haven't shot this thing yet. I will say that just for a tip, under the rail there's a piece where these strings are that piece has to be in there in order for the crossbow to work. So you're going to have to really follow the directions or find a video on how it goes. Again, there's two little grooves in there. One's a bigger groove, one's a smaller groove. And I believe the bigger groove is for the string that sits towards the front of the crossbow. Again, I should have made the video of putting this together. Maybe I'll make a video putting one together at a later time. Just take it apart and then put it together. But I'm kind of crunching here in time. With the ammo shortage, 308, I cannot find 308. I did find a box at Bass Pro Shop, but it was almost $50, and I'm not paying $50 a box for 308. So it was crunch time, so I really wanted to put this together, and I really want to sight it in, and I really want to put bolts on target, arrows on target, whatever you want to call them, so I can really hone this thing in. From the video that I watched on YouTube, they said the scope was pretty dead nuts right out of the box. I don't quite I don't quite believe in stuff like that. Like, oh, it's great right out of the box. I mean, I guess a blind squirrel can find a nut once in a while, but I don't want to be like, okay, this is fine, I'm going to go hunting like this. No, I really want to shoot some arrows through it and really dial it in. At this point, I really don't want to miss. I missed last year twice, so I really don't want to miss the animals at all this year. It's a crunch time. We did get a new deep freezer that I'll do a review on that we got for a pretty good price, and that hopefully this year will fill this new deep freeze that we have on hand at this point. So maybe in the future I'll do a little bit of, I'll disassemble this and then show you the inner workings of it and how to put it together for better reference. Again, the instructions were kind of shoddy in certain areas. Again, I haven't pulled the strings back and cocked it. It does tell you where to put your rope, your cocking rope. It's got it right down here. It says rope coping groove is down here on the bottom, not on the top. It's on the bottom. And it even states right here that don't put it there. Put it down there on the bottom on that end. So there's a good tip for when you're drawing back your string. Again, I don't shoot archery. I'm not a huge advocate of archery. I think it's kind of it's a craft at this point, and I'm not even around the curve yet, so I'm gonna have to get used to it. The reason why I did buy this is because, again, the bow that I purchased from Cindy's brother-in-law, the draw length on it does not fit me, but it is a really older bow. I believe it's a early 90s, mid 90s bow. So the cams on it would have to be replaced to fit my draw length. If not, then the strings could fly off the cams and I'd have a mess in the field. So that kind of put me behind the 8 ball at that point, because I thought it would be okay. But drawing it back and seeing, as I talk to people about the draw length on bows, I don't want that to happen to me. I really don't have the time for it due to work and the time crunch. I haven't got to see the trigger pull on the crossbow. From the video, again, I'm referencing this video a lot. From the video that I seen it, they said it was a pretty decent trigger pull. They said the only thing that they really, they were kind of skeptic of is the safety mechanism. They were saying the safety, if you can hear that, the safety mechanism is really loud to engage it from safe to fire. I don't know. They were talking about it. They didn't know if it was like that because they were filming in a closed set situation. It wasn't outdoors. Where I'm sitting, it's only an 18-foot tree stand. It's not really high up into the tree. So that kind of noise, I think that might trigger something to run if they hear that. So I'm going to try and look online, or maybe even call the manufacturer and see if there's any way that I can quiet that. It's all, when you're hunting, it's all about being quiet, and the biggest thing is patience. So we're going to get this thing out. I do have a deer target with a block in the middle of it. Right where the sweet spot is, that V, where you aim for on the animal. So we're going to give it a shot, hopefully either tomorrow or Wednesday, and see how this thing performs. I'm going to actually mark off to about 25 to 30 yards. I think I can be comfortable in shooting that. Anything beyond that, since I'm a beginner at those, I don't want to risk it, because I'm an ethical hunter, and I'm not going to take a shot that's out of my range, you know, out of my comfort zone, because I don't want to wound the animal. I want the animal to expire as painlessly as possible, which, you know, people would probably laugh at that, but I don't want to wound the animal and have it suffer. Basically, I just want to hurry up and have the animal expire and then drag it out and then provide meat for the family. The deer that I shot last year, or the year before last, that one, we used that meat. So put this in perspective. We used that meat and it went through the whole entire year. And it wasn't a huge buck, but it was big enough for us to dine on that source of food for almost an entire year. I think we ran out in a little bit of November because I cooked a bunch of backstrap for my birthday as a celebration. So hopefully this will give me an edge, and I can continuously use this year after year to extend my hunting season, as last year I didn't have a bow, and you just can't, in my perspective, you just can't go out and borrow somebody's bow. It doesn't work like that. Your bow really has to be designed for you. A crossbow, you can get around that with adjusting length of pull and your forend, as you can see there. So you can kind of get around that aspect. But with compound bows, it's way harder than that. So hopefully this will rectify the situation of extending my hunting season, because like last year I didn't have a bow, so I couldn't hunt because I didn't tag a deer during gun season. I missed twice, and those were the only two opportunities that I had, which really sucked because I hate going to the grocery store. I hate depending on those people. I like to be self-sufficient. I like to harvest and gather my own food. It's cheaper in the long run, but yet there's always consequences with the reactions that you take, like missing a pretty decent shot that you had. That's the consequence, and then you have to go and fight the masses at the stores. So this is another little aspect that I like to do. And plus, if you look at it, this thing should last me a good while until I get comfortable with it, and then I can upgrade to a new crossbow, just like we do in firearms. When you're a beginner, you know, you get that kind of that lower tier firearm, and then you work your way up and you get something really sufficient. In life, this is just one of those avenues that I got to take and learn and things like that. One more extra tip: you can take this quiver, and then you can mount it to whichever side you prefer on the crossbow. So that'll give you a little bit of comfort in case you do have to take another shot if you miss. So there's little bonuses to this one. Again, this is the Rm360, the Rocky Mountain 360 Pro, and with what I've watched online from this company, there's a lot of these kind of setups that they put out, which is you get a box with all your quivers and all your arrows and things like that. So these things, I think they're pretty cool. It's pretty neat setup for what it is. You know, for what it's worth, I mean, I think it's worth taking a chance on. It really is, especially if you're into hunting, you're into the outdoors kind of thing, and if you're gonna begin to shoot either bow or crossbow, this is a great way to extend your season in case you're unlucky in certain parts of the hunting season, like muzzleloader firearms and things like that. This will give you another shot at harvesting an animal. So hopefully I can get this thing up and running, and when I go out hunting, I'm going to have this thing with me, and hopefully it'll produce. Hopefully I'll produce, because mainly it's more of the shooter than whatever kind of contraption you're using to harvest an animal. So hopefully I can get good at this by the time deer season rolls around. It is coming up quick. I've noticed things flying off the shelf at work for deer season, whether it's corn or blocks or salt. You know, so everybody's really ramping up. Trail cameras are on sale, so are SD cards. So it's that time of year, folks. If you're into this sort of thing, I recommend this. Again, they make this company, Rocky Mountain, makes a couple different crossbows that come in this kit, where it gives you pretty much all the pieces, hopefully to put together a real solid crossbow. So stay tuned for the review of shooting this thing at a target, and I'll mark it off in the backyard and we'll give it a go and see what we can do. So this is a short little brief synopsis of the Rm360. Again, I should have filmed it while putting it together, but again, the directions were a little funky. So I'd like to thank my old and my new subscribers and just the people that zip through. I greatly appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, share your favorite gun content or whatever you're interested in all over the interwebs. And like always, we'll catch you guys on the next one.